Well, good morning to you, everybody. I'm sure this looks like the same setting as the last video, and I could maybe just build like a studio setting and just have the same background. We will be moving around, but this is where my seat is in my barn. A comfy little seat. Ooh, busted you around there a little bit. I don't have no ends on the barn. I should build those in. They were left open to get hay in here, but I may just need to build those in, keep it one step warmer in here. Maybe I can make them in some way that we can still get some, at least square bales in here. We don't really need to store the round bales in here as much anymore. It's in the low teens. By tomorrow morning, it's going to be hovering around 0, 1, 2 degrees. The wind is blowing, and it's just not a fantastic day. I guess the older I get, the less I appreciate winter. Creates quite a struggle. And that's kind of what we'll be talking about a little bit today. Temptation, struggle. I don't know what temptation the snow is. Temptation to be lazy, for sure. Temptation to stay away from work. But we got to go get these animals taken care of. And while we'll do that, we'll have a little Bible study along the way. The wind's blowing pretty bad, so I'm trying to keep you steady there a little bit. Our scripture verse today is 1 Corinthians 10:13. 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. So a lot of times that's a verse that's taken out of context a little bit. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about our proper view of what God provides for us, what escape God provides for us. The wind is just super intense today. I'm going to have to go back and get a better face mask. But the Greek word here, when we talk about the way of escape, ekbasin, it means like a mountain pass or a landing place for a ship. So particularly in military terms, if an army has been cornered and there's a narrow mountain pass, maybe a saddle, maybe you can envision here in Appalachia a saddle where an army might escape through. And you think about Civil War terms down in the Shenandoah Valley and things like that. They sought out these passes to get through. So it's a way of escape. And Paul's telling us that when we have been cornered by the enemy, God has carved out a secret pass. He's carved out a way for us to escape. And that's what we're looking at here is God providing a way of escape from these temptations, from these struggles that we might find ourselves in. Now, maybe we should know, since it's 1 Corinthians, this is one of the letters to the church in Corinth, and this is a city that is full of paganism and immorality, and you might be able to place yourself in that context of being surrounded by that rooster's advertising to me. You might be able to place yourself in a place where you're surrounded by all of this behavior, and you might feel this pressure. This rooster. These roosters are being a little belligerent, so I'm going to have to take care of them. So, like I was saying, if the roosters would be quiet. Like I was saying, this church in Corinth, it was just full of paganism, full of immorality, just bad behavior. No, not the church. Let me say that. The roosters and the cold have me all messed up. The church had its own problems, but the city of Corinth was full of paganism, immorality. The people in the church were having trouble maintaining discipline. They felt this pressure to conform to the things that went on around them, to participate in the activities that the general public was participating in, and that's what we see before us. That's what Paul's writing about, is this First Corinthians, writing to the church in Corinth, and advising them that they don't have to surrender to these temptations. They have ways out. They have pathways to escape these temptations in order for them to be true. So if we fall back a little bit to 1 Corinthians 10, 11, and 12, now these things happened to them as an example, but they were written down for our instruction, on whom the end of the ages has come. Therefore, let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. Now these things happened to them. The Israelites in the wilderness were overcome by temptation, and their failures, their examples were written down, that the church in Corinth might find the example in them. So therefore, let anyone who thinks he stands take heed lest he fall. This warning then shifts to the comfort in verse 13. This commonality to man. These temptations or these struggles are common to man. They're not unique to you. It's just something that we go through as humans. It's just part of the path we travel down. It's kind of that nothing is new under the sun, because the Corinthians went through a certain trial or a certain challenge. The Americans go through a certain trial, a certain challenge, and they're the same. They're similar. They're not unique. My struggle isn't any different, even though it's 2026. It isn't any different from someone in 1986 or 1826. The challenges are the same. They're common to man. These trials we go through. There is nothing new under the sun. But God is faithful. So this is common to man, but God is faithful. It isn't something that our willpower gets us through. It's our surrender to God and allowing God to carry us through. Here's the problem I have with this verse and others like it. Not the verse itself, but how people interpret the verse. People always want to say, well, God won't give you anything more than you can handle. I assure you, you will definitely get more than you can handle. You will get more than you can. Craig will get more than Craig can handle. It's not about what I can carry. God is he's the measurer. He's the one who measures out how much your bridge can take, how much your back can take. He's the one who measures that out. He's for lack of a better way of viewing it, he's the engineer in this case to know what you're capable of taking. It isn't me. I don't determine that, and I don't get to say I'm strong enough, or if I just have enough willpower, or if I just try a little harder. It isn't about the try that I have. It's about the surrender to him and allowing him to provide the way of escape for me. Wintertime provides a certain number of challenges and obstacles. Not like we're talking about in our Corinthian scripture, but my chickens, maybe one's laying an egg or something. They're not in the greatest situation. They have free reign. You see that? Well, you can't really see it. There's a little door over there. They can get out, but they don't really want to go out. But this way of escape, it isn't necessarily an exit. It isn't necessarily a way out. It's quite often a way to endure. It may more properly be a way to endure without sinning, a way to endure the trial or the temptation without falling into sin. It's kind of a landing place that provides us with some uh, some solid ground to stand on while this thing passes over us. The temptation to be lazy in the winter, the temptation to be angry when things don't go your way, the temptation to turn to alcohol and drugs when you have an issue, any number of temptations that we might uh, have rise against us. God provides the way of escape, the way out, and it may not necessarily be an exit through a door. It may just be a strength to stand up, a strength to let this thing pass over you, so that it's gone from you. And that's just a reliance. That's just makes us pull on our reliance to Him and allowing God to care for us and lead us through these situations. Part of our comfort in these days, these trials, these temptations, is knowing that we have a high priest, in like Hebrews 4:15. We have a high priest who was tempted in every way that we have been. We don't have a high priest that's unable to sympathize with us. We can't lay accusations at his feet because he's been tempted in all the ways that we have, and in all the ways that we fail, he won. He could have called himself out of it at any time, but he stayed. He has conquered in all the ways that we don't, and he's been tempted in all the ways that we have. 2 Peter 2:9 tells us that the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials. And sometimes we see people who curse God. We see people who are mad at God, angry at God. I just watched a television show where a guy, and I know it's a TV show, but the character tested God, and then there was a calamity that came at that very moment when he was questioning and testing God. And that guy's, the character isn't a Christian character. And we find that in the world. We find people who want to claim God but don't want anything to do with him. They want him to rescue them, but they don't want to depend on him. They want to resist him and fight against him in every corner of their life. And then they want rescue. This says, 2 Peter 2:9 says that the Lord knows how to rescue the godly in trials. Those people who have sought obedience to him, those people who have turned to him, they can be comforted in knowing that God is there. God is there to take care of them. Doesn't mean everything's going to go roses, but just like we studied in Advent, he's there to bring us peace and hope and joy because of his great love. Cap, it's a whirlwind out here, bud. It's a full-on winter deal here, you know what I mean? Jesus faced a greater weight of temptation than we could ever know. He, in the wilderness, being tempted in the way that he was tempted, and then in Gethsemane, knowing what awaited him, he could have called down the legions and saved himself from that, but he didn't. He endured it. Even though he could have stopped it at any point, he endured it for our sake, so that we might live. He endured that temptation. He endured that trial. He went through it on our account. In the Old Testament, when the Hebrews are fleeing from the Egyptians and they come to the Red Sea, God parts the Red Sea and provides a way of escape for them. And that's like a type of Christ. It's a foreshadowing of a type of Christ, because now our way of escape is through Christ. Our situation seems so bleak. We are being chased and harassed by the demons and the devil and all these temptations and sin all around us. But our way of escape is through Christ. He's provided a way for us. Because of the work that he did on the cross, we are no longer slaves to sin. We don't have to worry about the consequences to sin, so long as we depend on him Sin has no hold on us any longer. What's up, girl? She's fixing to have little babies. I don't have the greatest situation, and it's not a great time of year for that. I didn't do my job very well, did I? I got them separated. All the others are on the other side, and she was just lucky to get her separated. Because Christ resisted the cross, because Christ resisted the greatest of temptations, we now have the grace to find our way out. He provides us with grace to be released from our temptations, to have a way out. We don't resist temptation to find God's favor. We resist because we have God's favor. Our endurance is the fruit of his victory. Because we rely on him, because we trust in him, he gets glory through our endurance, through these trials, through these temptations. And we can't do it without him. We can't endure. We can't go another day. I will get more than I can handle. I will get more than I can handle. But it's not meant for me to carry alone. He's right there alongside. He lives within me. I need to depend on him. I need to allow him to take the weight from me and stop trying to do so much on my own accord. Let him have the glory. Resist this isolationism, this isolation myth that tells you no one understands. No one understands what I'm going through. That's the devil's playground when we think that we are meant to be alone. No one was meant to do this alone. That's why it's important to meet in church. That's why it's important to have people around us, to surround ourselves with, like-minded people who can strengthen us and carry us through. That's why it's important to pray daily. We were not meant to be alone, that our struggles are somehow different from everybody else's. Everyone struggles in a like manner. It's all common to man. Little distraction here, but these freeze miser deals are the business. Now, of course, I've got running water all the time when it's below 37 degrees, and I don't feel any wet ground here beneath me, but there's some sacrifices to it that I don't have to worry about getting water way out here to the captain. Now, because of electric and water issues where the pigs are, I do have some problems there, but these Freezemeister deals, I have 2 of them set up. I have another one in my pocket. I just haven't figured out the best way to set it up, and it's been froze, so I got some issues to deal with. We got to look for the ekbasin. We got to ask, where is the pass? Where is the way out? We got to stop, and when we find ourselves in these moments of temptation, these moments of struggle, we got to ask, Lord, where is the way out? Where is the ekbasin? Where's the way out? It might be a moment of prayer. It might be a phone call to a friend. It might simply just to be walk out of the room. Where is the way out of the current situation? We gotta be aware. We gotta keep our eyes out for those things. We've got to keep our mind sharp. When I say keep our eyes out, we gotta keep our mind sharp to know to turn our dependence on God and seek him for the answers. Where is the way out? Lord, show me the way out. Show me how to get away from this thing. There is a way. He's provided a way for the believer. For the believer, he knows how to take care of us. He knows how to provide the way out. I guess Charles Spurgeon had this idea that God's hand was on the thermostat. And if the heat was high, it wasn't because he was it was because he was refining you, not because he was consuming you. We have to have this idea that true holiness isn't just not sinning. It's loving God more than the temptation. True holiness is loving God more than the sin. I'm a little windburned. I've been out here a little bit too long, a little bit chilly. I took refuge in our greenhouse that hasn't been used in a few years. I need to remedy that. I talked about that before. I talked about it last year. Madison and Carson cleaned it out, but we didn't get to put it to use. We need to get new plastic on it and grow a few things in here. And that kind of brings us to the conclusion of what we're talking about. We're not a victim of our circumstances. We're a child. You are a child of a faithful God who has measured your trials and has provided for your exit. Pray with me. God, we thank you for providing for us this day. We thank you for never leaving us to fight our battles in our own strength, but that you are always there to provide a way out for us. You are always there to guide us and lead us from temptation. We just ask that you would continue to walk with us, and give us the gift of discernment that we might know your word, and give us the endurance and provide us with your strength to continue day by day. And we ask these things in Jesus' most holy name. Amen. I forgot again. I need to put a note to tell me in the beginning of the video to ask for likes and subscribes and comments. But if you've made it this far, maybe you can do those things. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you want to continue on in this journey with me, let me know. Comment. Let me know how you're doing, what you're thinking. And just remember, hey, I love y'all. Have a great day.